Hey, Tari. Hey, Heather.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm gonna make you the host.
Okay, great.
Let me see if I can figure this out. All right, there we go. Heather and
yes, and I've joined 2 ways with my phone and my computer. So I'm gonna try to make sure that I do not have audio. Continue without audio on my computer. Okay. Awesome. And I'll turn this lamp off behind me.
Yeah. So you are now the host.
Okay. Great.
All right.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can.
Great.
We are slowly coming in. And so if you need to mute someone, then you're gonna have to do it. Because
okay.
I can't do it anymore. I made you the host.
Okay, got it.
Great. Hello, Helen. Oh my gosh, Helen, how are you? I'm Mary Tina.
Hi, I'm Doreen. How you doing?
I'm doing great, girl. Doing great.
Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. Long time no see. And there's Mary. I am so jealous. I should be in Cape Cod right now. I want to be in Cape Cod. I want to eat some great seafood. Lobster rolls. Lobster rolls.
Come on over.
Yeah, I will. Don't tempt me with lobster rolls, girl. Liz and I will be coming over. That's right. Yeah. Hey, Teresa, Charlene. South Boston has good seafood too, right? Yeah.
South of Boston.
Yes.
Wow.
And Armando, where are you, Armando?
Miami.
Miami. Oh yeah, I'll be there next weekend.
Oh, great.
Yeah, mom lives in Miramar, so I'll be there.
Nice.
Yeah, Madeline. Hello, Madeline.
Hello.
How are you? Where are you?
I'm in Atlanta area.
Oh yeah, what part of Atlanta?
Our office is in Tucker.
Oh yeah, you're over there with the wonderful what's his name?
Terrell Patton.
That's right. The wonderful
What's his
Terrell.
name?
Terrell Patton.
Terrell Patton. Yes. Yeah.
Authorine?
Yes.
It says that the host is not letting me share my screen. So I don't know if you can do something about that.
That's weird. That's weird because you are the host.
I know that is weird.
Maybe because you have two things open.
Normally it lets me do it this way, no problem. Let me just make sure. I'll go into the meeting settings.
Yeah, because you are the host.
Okay.
All right, while you're doing that, I will just chat. So thank you, Heather, for saving our bacon again. So originally we had what's her name? Desiree scheduled to just do the staging part of it. And then Desiree had a health emergency. So I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? That was yesterday. So Heather is with Simply Organized, and she always saves our bacon. So she's the person who goes in and organizes before the stager gets there, right? So she's the one we call when we have orders and everybody. We're like, ah! Can't call the stager yet, right? Can't put our sign in front of the yard. So will you please go out? So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you are watching this, we are Quan. We are in East Atlanta. So we've got 2 market centers in Marietta. So I am in East Marietta. And my name is Authorine. And so welcome to all my visitors and to all my peeps who are in this office. You're in for a treat because she hasn't taught in our market center for a long time. But Heather saves our bacon all the time. When I tell you, she is a valued resource for us, she is 100%. So thank you. I owe you a bunch.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I've been a vendor at Quan for over 10 years now. I can't believe it. So I love working with y'all. I cannot figure out how to share my screen. I'm sorry, y'all. It's saying host disabled, and I've looked on both my phone and my computer, and it just won't let me. So I was hoping I could show y'all some before and after photos. So I don't know if you can kind of look, Authorine, and just make sure that on your end, it says productivity coach is the host now.
All right, and I'm gonna make you the host again.
Thank you.
So here we go. Do you want
Okay.
to change Heather to the host? Yes, I do. Are you good now, Heather?
It says host disabled screen sharing, and I've gone into both my phone and my computer, and it's not letting me make that change. So I don't know if you made, there's two Heather Rogers that you're seeing. So I'm not really sure which one you made host.
Oh, where? Oh,
There's another
oh.
There's
Okay,
two
hold
of
on.
me.
That's what it is. Okay, let me go into your other one.
Thank you. Sorry, the complications. Zoom doesn't work great on my laptop for some reason. The audio always sounds terrible. So I
Okay.
always try to do it.
Yeah, so now you should be good. They have
Yay, there it
all
is.
of these crazy buttons, Mary.
Perfect. I know, right? It's always something. It's always something. All right, we got it. We got it. Okay, so are y'all seeing my screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Awesome. So I started this business 12 years ago, and it was just me, and all we were doing was organizing at the time. And it was actually my work with Keller Williams that made me realize that I need to clone myself. And so one of my colleagues said, well, just hire subcontractors. And I thought, well, duh. So I now have a team of about 12 wonderful organizers who work for me, and we're hiring and growing. And I would say 50% of what we do is packing and unpacking for moves. And the other 50% is pre-staging, staging, and organizing. So we do a lot of things. What we don't do is full staging. And so I'll kind of go through the different types of staging. And I've worked with Desiree a lot, who was supposed to be talking to y'all today. So I'm happy to do, we call it like all the kind of grunt work before the stager comes in, or we can stage using your client's items. And that's typically what people want us to do anyway, but we don't have a warehouse. We don't have furniture. We don't have artwork and all that stuff to bring in. So that's what I'm calling full staging. And so I'll go through kind of what we do, and then I'll also show y'all some before and after photos. And then hopefully we'll leave plenty of time for questions and any way that I can help. All right, so I always show up to your clients' homes with this folder that has 9 steps on what I've cultivated over the years, using all of the real estate agents' input on what do y'all think needs to be done to make a house ready to list and show, no matter how crazy good the seller's market is or the buyer's market is or anything else. And then we give this advice to the clients, and we're often the middleman for the agents, because you don't want to be the bad guy and tell them that their collection of whatever, fill in the blank, clowns or dolls or whatever is creepy. So we can do that for you, and we do it very gently and very professionally, because we hand this list to them before we tour the house at all. So they know that we're giving the same advice to every seller, no matter what's in their home. So we try to make sure they don't take it personally. So I'm going to go through the 9 steps on the sheet that we give to all of the sellers. And we also include resources and lots of other good stuff in this folder as well. So number 1, landscaping, right? If the outside doesn't look good, chances are they're not going to come inside. So we at least want the lawn to be mowed. We don't want the roof to look like it's, falling apart or growing trees in the gutters. Anything that looks mildewed or old or broken or repaired. So we just at least want the outside of the house to look appealing enough to get them inside, right? Number 2 is a detail clean. And I always tell people to do this right before you have your first photos or really showings, right? Because a detail clean is going to do great things for not only what the house looks like, but also what it smells like. And we tackle a lot of odors as well. So that's another thing that I can have that uncomfortable conversation with your clients about. So a detail clean from a cleaner, it's usually just depending on the size of the house and how quickly they need it done, somewhere between $300 and $500. And I usually ask the agent, do y'all want the appliances, detail clean too? Do you want inside the cabinets? So it's really up to y'all how detailed you want it done. Number 3 is light. So we take down a lot of drapes and blinds, or at the very least open them and make sure that the windows are clean and not all fogged up and all that good stuff. The other really easy thing to do is just changing all the light bulbs, right? So many of our clients, we go in and half their light bulbs in the house are burnt out. So, we can do that for them, or if they want to kind of do DIY, we're happy to just give them a list of all the recommendations and they can do it themselves. Y'all also have told me over the years that there's certain types of light bulbs that look better in photos than others. So whether you want the daylight or you want the, the blue, the yellow, they've all got these different hues now and they show up so differently in photos. So it's important that they're all at least matching and that the house is really bright. Number 4 is depersonalizing. And I consider this in the pre-staging category. So, that we want the buyers to be able to imagine themselves in your seller's home. So we're going to do the exact opposite of when they made this house their home, and we are going to depersonalize and neutralize. And one of the biggest things in the South is SEC football, right? And so we get all these, there's Georgia or Tennessee or Auburn or Alabama all over the house, and heaven forbid your rival team, buyer buys from the seller. So we're taking down not only personal photos and names and birth dates and military items that might have their social security on them, but we're also gonna pack up the SEC football stuff, the religious items, anything that's making this house personal to the client, right? And this also is, removing all the magnets and photos from the refrigerator, and it's just little stuff. It seems so simple and such a no-brainer, but it makes such a huge difference, and it's so easy to do. So a lot of times when we're depersonalizing during the pre-stage and neutralizing and decluttering and all that stuff, we'll go ahead and start packing, and we'll pack up those personal photos and all of that stuff so that we're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, right? Oh, I see something come up. Questions at the end or during? You can ask. I don't know if y'all are on mute or not, so go ahead and ask.
I was curious if, in regard to removing religious items, how do you handle that? I seem to have a difficult time with that.
Mm-hmm. So again, I just tell them the whole purpose of this is so the buyers can imagine themselves and their family in the seller's home. And so it's all just recommendations and advice. And I tell them, take it or leave it. But if you do these things, you're more likely to sell your house for more money and quicker, right? So some people don't want to do it. And I completely understand that. We especially come across older generations who they haven't sold a house in maybe 20, 30, 40 years. And they're like, I'm not doing that. Well, okay,
Right.
Don't do it. But it's just a recommendation based upon, thousands and thousands of clients over 12 years that we've been doing this. So, but yes, you're right. There is some pushback on this. And I always try to start my conversation with them by, this is not personal. You know, I went to the University of Georgia. I'm this religion or whatever. It doesn't matter. We want to make sure that any seller can come to your house and feel, like they could live there.
Thank you.
Good question. There is a lot of pushback on that. A lot. All right. Number 5. This is the decluttering part, kind of, sort of. Clean floors, clear shelves, open spaces. We want this house to look as big as possible. We want it to look as clean as possible. So what so many people are doing now is they're looking at homes on their phone. So you have to imagine this 1-inch square that they're seeing these houses through. So even an area rug can make a room look smaller and busier. And again, it has nothing to do with the seller's personal style, but we usually pull up area rugs just to make the floors in the rooms look bigger, unless there's something wrong with the floor, of course. So I like to use a rule of thumb for 50% in closets, on bookshelves, and in pantries. So buyers want to be able to see that their stuff can fit into this house. So we want to make sure that the most important items to most buyers, which is primary bedroom closet, pantry, and bookshelves. Once we pack up the personal photos and the personal items, usually the bookshelves look great and we don't have to do anything else to them. They just have, a few little knickknacks or decor or books on them. And then with the closets, we usually pack up out of season clothing. So in the summer, it's really easy to just pack up the sweaters and the heavy boots and the thick jackets that your client's not going to need for the next couple of months, and put those, in a storage room, or if the client needs to get a pod or something like that. And then we can go ahead and make those closets look so much bigger, right? So that's our rule of thumb. And we do the same thing in a hall closet. We're not as concerned with kitchen cabinets and bathroom cabinets and things like that. I don't think that's as big of a deal breaker. And we also don't usually worry about rooms that are unfinished, like basements and storage and garages. And most of the real estate agents I've worked with over the years say use that for the packed boxes, use that for storage. And that's usually fine. So we've actually packed up a whole house and moved the whole thing into a garage before. So I think most people can say, okay, it's a 2-car garage. I get it, right? All right, number 6 is declutter. And this kind of goes hand in hand. So when you're moving, this is the best time to purge, right? Why would you want to pay somebody to pack up and move a bunch of stuff that you haven't used in years and years and years, or you don't like it anymore, you don't need it anymore? So part of our services include taking items to donate. So anything we can fit in our car, we'll take to charity for them for no extra charge and give them the receipt for their taxes. And then if it's bigger stuff, we'll try to line up somebody to pick it up. That's gotten harder during COVID. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes we have to pay trash removal companies to take stuff to charity, but either way, we'll make sure that we clear out the house as much as possible for things they're willing to part with, right? We're not going to force anybody to get rid of anything they don't want to. So, in this list, I've said, if you haven't worn an item, or VHS tapes. I just got asked about this from a client yesterday. She's like, what do I do with my VHS tapes? I said, throw them in the garbage. Charities won't even take them anymore. So, and this is a good time to, recycle old computers and electronics and all that stuff. All right. So number 7 is pack it up and store it. And this is, anything that the seller doesn't need in the next 6 months. These are, I just did a pre-staging estimate yesterday, and they had 3 children, and they've got, the playroom is just full of like bean bags and huge bins of stuffed animals and things like that. So I said, you tell me what the kids have to have, you know, while the house is on the market. And whatever they don't have to have, we'll put it in a storage area, right? And so that's going to clear out that room really easily and quickly without it being too difficult. And it might be a good time to donate some stuff that the kids aren't using anymore. So out of season clothes, bread maker, you know, anything that you use, holiday decorations, things like that, anything like that, we can store, pack it up and store. Touch-up paint is number 8. I mean, y'all know this. Paint is probably the cheapest and easiest way to make everything look lighter, brighter, smell better. There are a lot of sellers who are reluctant to repaint. I totally get that. But if they're going to do anything, this is the most bang for their buck. This is the cheapest thing that they can do, especially if they have a really unusual or really dark color, or there's obvious damage in the walls. The one thing that we tell everybody you really need to do is if there's a water stain in the ceiling, that's immediately going to make a buyer think that there's damage, right, to the roof or a leak. So we make sure, you know, you've had that damage fixed, and then we take Kills Upshot, which is a spray paint, and we kills over those stains in the ceiling. And that helps a lot to get rid of those water stains. Because that's kind of a big red flag for buyers. And then I put the thing about Magic Eraser. How does Mr. Clean do it? I gotta tell you, we use Magic Eraser every day. That stuff is amazing, a miracle. All right, and last but not least, number 9 is decorating and staging. So less is more, always, when you're putting a house on the market. So again, like, this is not about them buying your stuff. They don't want to buy your furniture. They don't want to buy your artwork. They don't want to buy your decor. They want to buy your house. So we need to make sure it looks very clean, very decluttered, and very, you know, like I said, less is more. So we see a lot of people who have every surface has stuff on it. So we're really big about, when we're cleaning off floors and removing any excess furniture, I don't know, plants, tables, vases, a lot of things on the floor make rooms look cluttered. And then on top of dressers, countertops, you know, we clear that off as much as possible, because to the buyer's eye, it looks cluttered. It looks messy. It looks smaller. So that's a big thing that we do with the pre-staging and the staging. With staging, that's a little different than pre-staging. It's very important to make sure each room is shown in its best light, and each room has a purpose. A lot of people have a treadmill in with a home office. I don't think that's as big of a deal, right? But you don't want to, yesterday I saw a room upstairs was a very unusual room. They're using it as an office. I asked the real estate agent, do you want to show this as an office? And she said, yes. So, you know, a lot of times I'm going to consult with y'all and find out what makes the most sense. We want the buyers to not be confused. Like, what do I use this room for? Right. We want all the spaces to look open and big. So when we're staging using the client's items, we're going to make sure there's a good flow in every room, that you can see the door, that you're not walking into a bedroom and you walk straight into a bed, right? So we just want to make sure the rooms look big and spacious and there's a good flow. You can see clearly to the exit door. And again, we do that by just, you know, removing anything that's small and excess that they don't really need in the room. But we're not going to remove everything because they need to live there while it's on the market. Like I said before, we'll remove area rugs. And then you just want to make sure that the photos look the best they can, even on the teeny tiny phone or however they're looking at it. All right, so now we're going to go through and do some, you know, before and after photos. And I also put some reviews in here. This is one of y'all's colleagues, Meredith Bush at Keller Williams, who I help quite a bit with her clients, and they were very excited. Okay, so this is a a dining room before. Can y'all see that okay? Can I get a thumbs up? So I tried to do a video for the first time ever. So let's see if it works on the after. So I'm going to play this video. Can y'all see that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So huge difference, right? Like we did this in a day. We literally she had just gotten really overwhelmed and just started throwing everything in the dining room, on the floors, on the table. And so we took everything out. We sorted it all. We took, I think 5 loads to donate with this client. And I'm going to show you the next room that we did for her. Let's see. Okay. So this is a home office before, and I didn't get, there's actually a spare bed in this room too that I didn't get a picture of. But as you can see, most people's home offices become the dumping ground for the whole family, right? I mean, there's a clothesline hanger in here. I mean, there's luggage, there's just all sorts of stuff. So this is the after. I mean, and again, this did not take very long. It took maybe 2 hours. So when we're helping a client, especially if they're just pre-staging or whatever, we're not going through every single photo. We're not going through every single piece of paper, right? That's homework they can do on their own in the evening. We just want to make the house look really good for listings and showings. All right. So this is a huge project that we did for a client who had moved 14 years ago and never opened the boxes from their move that were in the basement. So we went through, and this is just showing you, we marked all of this stuff for the donation pickup. That's what the D's mean. All of this, we marked T for trash. And then this is the before of their basement. And this is the after. So again, it's not that we had to stage this basement storage area, but they were moving anyway, and they had to get rid of stuff before we could store the upstairs stuff. So during the move, we went ahead and did that. We arranged the trash pickup and the donation pickup for them too. All right, so this was an estate that we got hired to do. The living son was in Texas. And so he hired us to get the whole house cleared out. Some people want us to do, get an estate sale company for them. Some people just want to donate everything. But we first had to get it ready to list. So that's the before and after. And then they chose to donate everything. So we arranged all of that for them as well. This was the son that lived in Texas. So, all right. So this is another before video. This is the same client we did the dining room for. This is her guest bedroom. So I'm going to show you the before video.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and this is the after. So again, just got everything off the floor. Didn't even know there was a bed in there when we first got there. Got everything out, donated a ton, and then put the items she wanted to keep and take with her to the next house. We packed them up and put them in the garage. And this just shows you what it looks like. I really wish I had it before on this job. This was floor to ceiling, stacks and stacks and stacks of stuff. And so this is what it looked like after we packed it all up. This woman was she liked to do a lot of clothing consignment for her kids. And so she had clothes for the last, 20 years for them. All right, so this is just kind of showing you like the 50% roll of a closet. We just, again, try to get everything off the floors, try to make it look like, yes, buyer, you do have room to move into this closet. These are two of our employees. This is Kelly and Mindy, and Mindy is actually an interior designer. So they do a lot of the pre-staging and staging for us. We have several people on our team who can do that, as well as any other type of organizing project. This is another closet that we just kind of made look as good as possible while they lived there, while the house was on the market. That's a pantry that I call it zhuzhing, tidied. And then again, we don't usually for pre-staging or listings, we don't usually worry about what's inside the kitchen cabinets, but if we open the cabinet and stuff starts falling on us, then yes, we're gonna get it to where your buyers can open them and not have that feeling. It's usually a lower priority for us. So I love to speak. I wrote a book. So anytime y'all want, I've done tons of, I actually did a presentation with Liz, who I see is there today, and with Patty Jackson, you know, a neighborhood event or anything that y'all think that you might want to do that would bring people out that they'd be interested in. I would love to, you know, do a presentation for them. So you let me know if you can think of something. We're going to do a sip and see with an agent in a house that's listed, and one evening coming up. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways that we can work together. And there's some of my other team. I just thought that was the cutest photo. Our client had this weird butler statue. All right, so this is what we do: pre-staging and staging, packing and unpacking, project management, sorting, decluttering, donating, resources for reselling. So we do have lots of different options when it comes to, we don't do estate sales, but I have lots of companies I work with who do both online estate sales and in person. And I'd be happy to share that information with you or your clients. And then of course we do organizing and spatial planning and all that good stuff. So what did I not hit? What are y'all curious about? What questions do you have for me?
This is Joanna Smith. I might have missed it, but did you go over pricing?
No, I did not. So we start the Keller Williams agent discounted rate is $75 an hour with a minimum of 3 hours.
Okay.
Our staging rate is more, it's $125 an hour. And we do consultations for $200. So that's
okay.
One of us going through your client's house, doing a full tour, giving them a list of what needs to be done, giving them all of our resources. But yeah, I just posted a little thing on the Facebook page about, you know, we've got gift cards available that are great closing gifts. And those start at $225. So that would be for 3 hours, and you can buy as many hours as you want for your clients. We do charge a little bit more if it's really far away. So, you know,
Okay.
today, and I have my team is spread out all over the place, but you know, if we have to go we went to like Cordele or something last year. So we had to charge her for travel time and things like that. So, you know, we have a range, but it starts at $75 an hour, and I'm happy to do a consultation with your clients, have a phone call, have a video assessment with them for free. And we can kind of figure out what they need us for. And I can also go out in person if that makes more sense. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Helen has her hand up.
Yes, hi Heather. I have a question. I think you may have answered it, but I wanted to know if you have any remote options for clients that may be out of state, maybe a Zoom consultation or walkthrough or anything like that. Do you offer any?
Yes, I'd be happy to do that. We have, especially during COVID, we started doing a lot of online consultations with people, and I've done time management coaching for years, and I've always done that remote for people. So I'm happy to do Zoom call, iPhone call, whatever makes the most sense for them. And even if they just want, I feel like half of what we do is accountability and motivation. So that's like 50% of the battle, especially when it comes to tackling a big project. So I'm happy to be there, text them every week or whatever and say, hey, what have you gotten done? And how can I help? And kind of motivate them and coach them a little bit, because I think that's the hardest part. We met with somebody this week, and she's moving in 2 weeks, and we were doing a packing consultation. And I said, I really think you need to get one of us in here for a few hours to help you sort through what you're keeping, because if you wait until the day we show up, you're going to waste so much time and energy and effort. And she was so overwhelmed. They've been in the house for 37 years. And so a lot of times we'll just go for 3 hours and just help somebody put Post-its on everything that they're keeping, and then we can help them get rid of everything that they're not keeping. So yeah, sometimes they just need that extra set of hands just to kind of help them out and get them over that hump. Because it's really, they say it's the second most stressful thing to do in a lifetime is moving. Number 1 is loss of a loved one. Number 2 is moving. Number 3 is divorce. So imagine when we're helping somebody move because they're getting a divorce, right? Or we're helping somebody move because they've lost a loved one. I mean, it's so emotional and so stressful. So yeah, we're happy to help. That's my passion. That's why I started this business. So any way I can possibly help you guys, I would love to.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else have any questions? I don't really care what it's about. I don't believe there's anything there are no stupid questions in my mind. Was there anything I didn't mention that you thought I would? Anything I should be telling the clients to prepare?
Heather, this is Atari. Apart from floors and paint, what's the next thing that brings the most value?
There's a whole list, and I'm sure y'all have gotten this, and it shows the percentage of return, the rate of return on your investment. I know that people have always said, thanks, Regina. I know people have always said that, kitchens, right? Kitchens are a really good return on your investment. I also have heard in the last year or two, and Liz, maybe you can tell me the name of the company, but they've got all these options now for you to get repair work, but you don't have to pay for it on the front end, right? So I've been hearing about all these different companies that you can use. And I think that's so great because so many people can't afford to do it. Curbio. Thank you, Curbio. Yeah.
And Equimax is the other.
Equimax. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes.
So I think that that's a lovely option for people who have some pretty obvious repairs that need to be done. I feel like it's hard to say. Most buyers, you would think they wouldn't care about certain things, but I think they do care about stuff that is in obvious need. It's going to be really expensive, right? The roof, the HVAC, leaky ceilings, horribly stained, carpets, things like that. And odors. And odors are actually, depending on the client, Liz. Sorry. Odors can be easy to remove if you can remove the source of the odor, right? If the pets have moved out that have caused the odors, or if the smoker is no longer smoking in the house, things like that. But we see a lot of mildew and musty odors, especially in Georgia. And y'all have a company that's a vendor there called 180.
Yeah.
And they do a really good job of removing odors. They can also do a lot of HVAC cleaning. If people have allergies to cats or dogs and they're reluctant to buy a house that's had a cat or a dog in it, I've had them do that for some of y'all's clients. And
Hey, Heather,
yes,
on the note of the pet owners, just lesson learned, I would definitely warn people, and I will going forward after that experience, that sometimes the carpet cleaning to get rid of odors stirs it up and makes it worse
Yes,
right
it does.
before. So don't
Yes.
do it right before you begin showing it or have an open house.
Mhm.
So I would
yes,
just letting people know that too.
poor Liz.
It works.
Such a nightmare. It did, it made it worse. I mean, the only thing that we could have done was totally ripped out all the carpet and all the padding. That's the only thing that would have actually gotten rid of it in that particular case.
Correct.
Yeah. Yep. Sometimes it's really bad.
Yep.
But that's again why it's good that there are companies like Curbio and Equimax who can kind of do that stuff on the front end.
Hmm.
If the person has time, right? I mean, sometimes I feel like your clients are in such a hurry to get it listed that we just do, bare minimum, whatever we can do, the quickest we can do it. That's fine too. I think it all depends on how much they want to get from the house. But the cheap things to do all involve time and elbow grease. So I think there's so many things that can be done without spending a lot of money, right? Like changing the light bulbs and decluttering and removing the excess and things like that. That can all be done for free, right? If your client has the time and energy to do it. And I think that makes a huge difference, especially in the photos. Right?
Yeah.
One of my very, very dear friends is a real estate agent, and we did a pre-stage for her recently, and I was not on the job, and I saw the listing photos afterwards, and I told my team, I forgot my friend who's the agent is colorblind. It was so obvious in the photos. I said we should have had them cover the furniture because it was like 6 different primary colors, this couch, and it's all you could see in the listing photos. And my friend had no idea because she just saw brown, varying shades of brown and gray. So I told my team, feel free to recommend that we at least cover it with a blanket. So, there's little things like that happen all the time, and you don't want to insult the seller, but it makes a huge difference in the photos. And that's an easy fix, right? Just put a little throw blanket over a piece of furniture for the photos. Yeah.
Or buy a cover.
Yes, a cover would be even better.
Yeah, because there's some really nice furniture covers, that look upscale that you can buy
Yes.
to cover the ugly, outdated plaid stuff.
Right, because we're not expecting our sellers to get all new furniture by any means. So unless they want super high, dollar for the house. I've gone back and forth over the years. Some agents are fine with us listing it empty. So, if the sellers can move out first and we can get it empty and get it cleaned, sometimes that's the best thing. So I really leave it up to y'all and your expertise, and you can guide us on what you want.
Heather, can I ask you a question real quick?
Sure. Sure.
So what, do you recommend you going by yourself on a consultation with, like, say, my client, just so you can maybe say more things or not feel uncomfortable? Like, do you recommend going by yourself, or do you want the the agent there with you?
9 times out of 10, it's best if we're on our own.
Yeah, good.
And
Okay.
it has nothing to do with the agent. I think that they feel like they're being ganged up on
Yeah.
if there's more people there.
Okay.
That's
Super.
my general sense over the years. But I always want your input. So very often if you're not there, I will say, you know what, let me double check with
Mhm.
your agent and see what their priorities are. And then I'll get back to you and let you know if we need to get a yard guy in here. If we
Okay.
need to get a
Yeah.
painter in here, or something like that. Let me see how much y'all are gonna ask for this. And if we're gonna do it as is, or if we're gonna put a little bit more time and money into it. So
Okay.
I usually will just kind of say that, and then I will call you or text you afterwards and say, hey, I have some questions about X, Y, and Z. A lot of times it's like, did you see that all the windows were fogged?
Yeah.
Do we need, new windows are really expensive, but that's going to be a big thing for the buyers. So where is that cost on the front end? What's the most important thing for y'all? And it also depends on the market, right? And the inventory and the comps and, so I always defer to y'all and your expertise. And then I'm kind of the middleman. I want to make you both happy. I want to make the client happy and I want to make the agent happy. So we just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. But
Thank you.
I've done it both ways over the years. And I feel the only time someone's ever cried, it was me and the agent. And I don't even know what I said. I think it wasn't me, it was just, she was having an emotional time, but I said something about packing up some china and she lost it. So I feel like it's probably best to feel like they're not, any personal attack, which I'm very careful to not do that, but deliver the news very gingerly. I'm sure y'all have seen, my number one thing is like the fake plants on the top of every single piece of furniture and cabinet in, 70, 80-year-old pluses homes. And it's just dust collectors, and that's the first thing I want to do is take all that stuff down. And they think I'm crazy. They're like, oh, it's going to look so boring. And, it's not going to look bright. And so I just have to ride that fine line. So
I have found too.
That. I'm sorry.
I have found that it makes you less of the bad guy if you are not there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Totally up to you. I am happy to be the middleman and the deliverer of uncomfortable news.
And may I suggest that you get the contract signed before you have the stager come in? Because I've made that mistake a couple times.
Yes.
I say I've had so many agents buy our services for the client, and then the client does not use the agent. And that just breaks my heart, like, it's the only business in the world where y'all have to wait to get paid and you're fronting all this money. It's so crazy to me.
I am in 100% agreement with Mary. Because it hurts when you're spending money. I've taken pictures and the guy backs out.
Hmm.
And like, okay, won't do this ever again, right?
It's a lesson we've all had to learn the hard way.
Mhm.
During COVID, we hired an attorney and we now have every single person sign a contract and pay a deposit before we set foot in their house.
Yes.
We had to. We saw things I have never seen in my 12 years during the pandemic, and I'm sure y'all did too, but it's just not worth it. It's not worth it for you to lose your business and your livelihood over that one bad apple. Most of the time everybody's great, but it just takes that one person to bankrupt you. So yeah, we've all learned that the hard way. All right, y'all, anything else?
Heather,
Hi, Connie.
can you hear me? Hey, it's Connie. So first of all, hello. It's good to see you always.
Good to see you.
Curious. So what would you say is your biggest challenge when you go into any home? And then it's kind of a two-part question. So what is typically your biggest challenge? And then number two, how would you like the agent to sort of prep the client so that it becomes less of a challenge?
Wow. You're my new best friend, Connie.
No, I mean, because there's some conversation around, hey, this company's going to come in and here's what they're going to do and here's why you're going to love them. I always like to do that, but if there's other things that I can say, well, just be prepared that this could be emotional, or I don't know what kind of conversations we need to be having before you go out. But because part of that is, I don't know what your typical challenge is, or is it just, you just need the time to get in there and get it done?
Fabulous, Connie. Oh my
Such a great question. I tell you what. So I think it's probably the same challenge that you all have, which is we have all of this knowledge and all of this expertise, and we almost have a crystal ball and psychic powers, and we can watch them fail. We can watch them not take our advice. And that's the hardest thing for me, is to watch these people say, oh, you know what, we're just going to do it ourselves. It's going to be fine. And then I get a call the day before and they're like, oh my God, we thought we were going to get more done. We thought this and that. Everyone has the best intentions, but 99.9% of the time, none of my clients get done what they say they're going to get done, whether it's before listing, whether it's before moving. So what I like to say is all of this is advice based on over 4,000 clients that we've worked with over the last 12 years. So you can take it or leave it, but it's coming from a lot of experience, and I don't want to watch you fail, so that's what I would say. If you want to prep them beforehand and just say, look, Heather is a problem solver. She's lived in Georgia her entire life. She knows everybody. She can help you, whether it's something she does or not. She can find somebody who will help you do it. Just meet with her and listen to her. And hopefully you'll find some way that she can help you. Okay. But that's honestly, the people, and I've learned over the last few years that control comes from fear. So I'm trying to look at these clients in a different light and figure out what they're so afraid of. Why are they trying to control this so much? They ask for mover recommendations and I give them 3 and they have them all come out and give them a quote. And then they go with the bellhops. And the bellhops doesn't have a staff and they don't have insurance. And I'm like, what? Why would you do that? So I understand trying to save some money, but at the end of the day, I will not pack you if you use a moving company that doesn't have insurance. I have liability insurance and I will cover anything that we break, but I'm not gonna ruin my business over that poor decision. Right. So I'm trying to go at it from a different way now and say, okay, you asked me for my advice and my resources and my recommendations. What has happened? What has changed? Why did you get the U-Haul at the end of the day? Why did you load it yourself? Right? Is this a money thing? How can we help you with that? I mean, I know people don't want to have these embarrassing conversations, but that's when things go off the rails. right? That's when the bad stuff happens, is when they aren't listening to all of us and all of our expert advice. And I'm sure y'all see it every single day. You're like, this is what you need to do in order to get your house on the market and to get it sold. And this is the listing price. And, they all have their own opinions and ideas that are framed from past history. And it's really hard to overcome that. So, I'm not going to say you have to do everything I tell you to do, but I am going to say it's coming from only a good place. I'm only trying to help you make the best decisions that are going to help move your family forward. Right. So yeah, that's what I would say is my biggest challenge, Connie. If they just let us do our job, it is fantastic. It works every time perfectly, and they give us rave reviews and they love us.
So do you
If they
talk
don't
about
try
that
to
when-
control it.
So do you talk about that when I don't really have a sense maybe of, particularly because like you suggested, I don't want to be there when you're going in, you do, but no, it's just,
Right.
it's not an efficient use of my time either.
Mhm.
But I also think you're right. It's kind of good cop, bad cop stuff, but I also think I'd like to know a little bit about, and it may be helpful for others on the call, what is your initial conversation when you walk in the door? Because I
Mhm.
know, like, if I'm doing a buyer consultation or if I'm doing a listing appointment, I know sort of those first sentences as you come in the door can set the tone for what the rest of the experience is going to be like. So I'm just kind of curious, how do you start when you're going in to do a clean out to pre-stage?
So whether I'm doing a video assessment or an in-person assessment, if I'm doing a video assessment, I will email them that 9-step list that I showed y'all all during the presentation. And I tell every single person, almost the first thing out of my mouth, other than "so nice to meet you," is I am going to give you these 9 steps, of how to get your home ready to sell. And it's not personal.
Hold on,
It's-
Heather, hold on. Hey, Debbie, you're on mute, so if you can mute yourself, that would be great. And I noticed
Heather.
Charlene had her hand up for a very long time. I don't know if she's still on the call.
Okay. I'll get to her in just one second. But yeah, that's what I do. I just say, here's this list, and I go through it with them, and then I do a tour of the house.
Setting an agenda, if you will. Yeah.
So they know every single person I talk to gets the same information regardless of what their house looks like, what their style is, what their taste is. This is not personal. This is what we do to show your house in the best light. So that's how I start it. That's the conversation. And then of course, then we tailor what we're going to do based upon each client's, priorities and home and situation.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, Charlene is.
I think Charlene had to jump off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right.
Maybe she'll text me.
Any of you can call, email, text anytime. Let me know what you need. And I'm also on the Quan Facebook group, but I know that there's a lot of people on this call that aren't in y'all's local office. So please feel free to reach out and contact me if you need anything.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Heather, thank you so much for saving our bacon once again.
You're welcome. It's
And
so
for
good to see everybody.
All of my out-of-state peepers and my peeps, her number is on the screen, and she does do Zoom consultations. So thank you guys for showing up today and giving us an hour of your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. So good to see you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank you.
So thanks, Heather.
Bye.